بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن أبي المنذر أبي بن كعب رضي الله تعالى عنه قال كان رجل لا أعلم رجلا أبعد من المسجد منه. Hazrat Ubay ibn Ka'b radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that there was a person that I don't know any man that was more distant and more further from the masjid than him, meaning his house was the furthest from the masjid. وَكَانَ لَا تُخْطِئُهُ صَلَاتٌ, but he never missed a single salah. فَقِيلَ لَهُ أَوْ فَقُلْتُ لَهُ, it was said to him, or I said to him, لَوْ اشْتَرَيْتَ حِمَارًا تَرْكَبُهُ فِي الظَّلْمَاءِ وَفِي الرَّمَضَاءِ. So I said to him that if only you could buy a donkey, you could ride upon the donkey فِي الظَّلْمَاءِ, in the darkness of the night, وَفِي الرَّمَضَاءِ, or in the extreme heat. At night it is extremely dark, and at that time Madinatul Munawwara, no lights whatsoever. So you could have ridden on this donkey and come to the masjid. And in the extreme heat in the afternoon also you could ride on the donkey and come to the masjid for salah. فَقَالَ مَا يَسُرُّنِي أَنَّ مَنْزِلِي إِلَى جَنْبِ الْمَسْجِدِ, that he said it would not make me happy that my house is right next to the masjid. إِنِّي أُرِيدُ أَن يُكْتَبَ لِي مَمْشَايَ إِلَى الْمَسْجِدِ وَرُجُوعِي إِذَا رَجَعْتُ إِلَى أَهْلِي. He says, verily I intend that my walking to the masjid and my return, when I return to my family, all this is written down for me. That when I come to the masjid walking, then for every step that I take, for that I must get reward. And when I return home, I go back to my family members, then for every step that I take returning home, for that also I must get reward. فَقَالَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, قَدْ جَمَعَ اللَّهُ لَكَ ذَلِكَ كُلَّهُ رَوَاهُ Muslim. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah Ta'ala has gathered all that for you. Meaning this reward that you want for coming to the masjid, and this reward that you want for going back home, this full reward Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has written for you. وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ إِنَّ لَكَ مَحْتَسَبْتَ. In one narration it comes that verily for you is what you have hoped for. You hope for all this reward will be for you. So on our intention, a person makes niyat that I'm living far from the masjid and I will travel this distance and I want reward for every turn of the wheel or every step that I take. According to that, Allah Ta'ala will reward a person. In the next hadith, an Abi Muhammad Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiallahu anhuma قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, as Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is reported to have said, as Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala was a very senior sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In fact, before his father, he had already accepted Islam. And Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala, who was a great muhaddis of his time, a great scholar of his time, he said that nobody narrated more hadith than me with the exception of Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala. In fact, Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had given him permission that you must write hadith. And Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala, he was not permitted to write hadith. But the narrations of Abu Huraira that are recorded, they much more. They 5,374. And the narrations of Hazrat Abdullah bin Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala are just 700. Why the difference between the two? Because Hazrat Amr ibn As radiallahu ta'ala, he was living in Egypt. And the people that went to Egypt were very few in number. Whereas Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala was in Madinatul Munawwara. And the whole world goes to Madinatul Munawwara. So therefore you'll find that Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala, more ahadith of his were recorded. So he narrates this hadith, arba'una khaslatan. He says that there are 40 good qualities, 40 excellent deeds. A'laha manihatul anz. That the most highest of it, the peak of it is to give somebody your goat so that he will derive the milk and benefit from the goat. You give him the goat, you tell him you milk the goat and you take benefit from the milk. ما من آمل يعمل بخصلة منها رجاء ثوابها وتصديق موعودها إلا أدخله الله بها الجنة. He says there is no person that makes amal, that does good actions, any of these good deeds, hoping of the thawab of it. And he believes he believes in the promise that has been made for these good deeds, except Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will enter him into Jannat because of this. In the next hadith, an Adi ibn Hatim radiyallahu ta'ala anhu قال, Hazrat Adi ibn Hatim radiyallahu ta'ala says, سمعت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, اتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة متفق عليه. That save yourselves from the fire of Jahannam, even though it means giving a portion of a date or half a date. in sadaqah, in charity, then give this also and save yourself from the fire of Jahannam. From here we understand, we come to know that any good deed that a person does, it is through this good deed we have hope that Allah Ta'ala's mercy will come down. And when Allah's mercy comes down upon a person, through that good deed, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala now protects a person from the fire of Jahannam. We'll continue from here, inshallah.